Welcome back to week 2 of the Scaffolding Learning course. The best part of this course is the community, so let me introduce you to a few more of your classmates.
Hello everyone, I am Rachel Cox from Northwestern South Carolina, and I'm looking forward to learning about scaffolding with all of you during this course. I teach at a public middle school and a public high school, and this is my first year teaching at a middle school and a high school. Before this, I taught English to adult learners. So new to me is grading students, and also new to me is helping students learn content for their other classes. And my students particularly struggle with their math classes, their science classes, and their social studies classes. I'm hoping I can learn some ideas for helping them better grasp the content of those classes. I look forward to hearing about what teaching is like in the classrooms of the students in this course, and I'm excited to see there are people from all different areas coming together to help learn about scaffolding. I look forward to learning more about all of you. Happy 2020.
Hi, Rachel. I'm waving to you from the other side of our country. I'm in California, and I just listened to your introduction, and I know that you are from South Carolina. So welcome to the class, and I'm hoping, like you, that I'm going to expand my repertoire of strategies by learning more about scaffolding for learners. So let's learn together. All right.
Hi, my name is Mary Wong, and I teach at Title I elementary school in Prince William County, which is the Northern Virginia area. We have a team of about 9 ESOL teachers, and we service about 350 ESOL students. I work primarily in 2nd and 3rd grade this year, and we use reading as our platform. I meet with kids in small groups and really try to boost their reading. I am a career switcher, so this is my 2nd year, and I thoroughly enjoy what I do. Previously, I was a social work major, worked with refugee resettlement back in the 80s and some of the 90s. Then I married cross-culturally, raised a family, and as my kids got older, I thought, what do I want to do? And I decided to get into the realm of education with second language learners. Last summer, our county had it was a countywide ESOL training, and I heard Carol Salva, who Tan works with, and she has a book called Boosting Achievement. She works a lot with refugees, students who have had interrupted or minimal education. And when I heard her, I thought, boy, this lady is great. She's very engaged and has some new ideas. And then, so I started following LChat, and that's how I came across Tan's work and his website and heard about this course. I was hesitant to take it simply because I do work in the lower elementary grades this year, but I thought, no, I can't pass up this opportunity to hear what I feel like are some of the cutting edge of new ideas. At our school this year, the ESOL teachers are working very closely with the content teachers, and I'm excited about the gains we can make together, working together, and the ESOL teachers being real advocates for our students. I love the bathroom briefs. I'm hoping to implement those here next week in our school. I sent an email to the principal and said, hey, I've got some new things to try, but I think it's a great idea. So thanks for those, Tan. Happy New Year, everybody. Hope you enjoy this class, and I look forward to seeing what everybody has to share. Bye-bye.
Hi, Mary. It's Carol Salva. And I got word that you mentioned me in your introduction, and I just wanted to say thank you. And thanks very much for mentioning Boosting Achievement. I was honored to be in Prince William with you guys. I'm still following people on Twitter, and if I inspired you in any way, that's such a meaningful thing for me. So thank you for that, and I just want to wish you all the success with this class. We need you working with those kiddos down in lower elementary. You can make a huge impact. You sound like you have such a passion for it. So I'm happy for the students and the teachers that you're working with. And yeah, share out the things you guys are learning. We'd love to hear more about it. Have a great class.
As of Thursday evening, we had 13 responses on Flipgrid. These introductions are great. And thank you for those who were able to take time to respond, to say hello to some of your fellow participants. What a great way to start a community. Thank you for taking the time to create these metaphors from this week. Here are some of them. There was one about instruments, about conditions, even about nature. There are lots about sports. There were even personal ones where you uploaded your own pictures. There were two in particular that I want to highlight. One from Mary, where they both talked about pencil grips. Mary said, "A scaffold is like a pencil grip which provides support, comfort, and reassurance when getting started with something new. We want our kids to have a good grip from day one as they learn how to handle the English language." Another person, I'm not quite sure who wrote this one, said, "A scaffold is a pencil grip that students use to accomplish the writing task if they lack the fine motor skills to hold the pencil. This way, the child can actively participate with his classmates." And that's the essence of this week, or really the essence of scaffolding. It's about focusing on participation first before perfection. We want kids to feel and to know that they are just like other kids. They just need a little more scaffolding to participate. And that's the focus, to get them to participate. Well said, everybody. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for creating your Voxer accounts. And for some of you, you've even been able to add some ideas and comments. Feel free to use Voxer as a way to ask questions and be sounding boards to others. Ryan asked a great question. Is it possible to use this in an upcoming PD? Yes, the videos that I have shared, my resources, you're allowed to share, but for respect for the privacy of participants, if they speak in the video that I share, please don't show their face unless they give permission. Let's look at Erica's assignment for this week. This is Erica's assignment from Portugal. She said she used visual scaffold, and she took a picture of kids drawing images, or her drawing images, to help them understand "thank you, ma'am." And she said it was super content friendly, super teacher friendly, and super student friendly. It's really basically one of the easiest scaffolds to use. I use it the most frequently because pictures are really worth 1,000 words. Erica said it allowed beginners and intermediates to contribute and produce writing about something to demonstrate understanding. In my opinion, we cannot use visuals enough. So let's look at Aaron's from Switzerland. He used sketchnotes as a bell ringing activity to check students' understanding. The previous lesson, he had students, there was a reading and listening task that was connected to climate change from National Geographic, which is a great source. And then this is what the kids did. This is from a student themselves. He said it was student friendly, teacher friendly, and content friendly. And I actually want to read this to you. I like this a lot. "I noticed that sensory scaffolding by asking students to sketch their ideas is an effective and efficient way for students to demonstrate their understanding and for me to check their understanding. I use this activity and then introduce key vocabulary words before asking students to make a definition, as Tan demoed in his video, to then apply key vocabulary and structures to their content understanding." This is so great. So he used the visuals, and there are key words here like CO2, atmosphere, I actually don't know what this is, and the word earth. And there are definitely words that he could also use, the kids can also probably produce, and to create a definition of this process. So the visual help kids be able to produce the writing. And I love that. And I want to say that every activity that I show, there are actually two things that I have either used in my own class or have seen others demoed or seen others do in their own classes. So everything that I'm sharing with you has either worked with others or worked with me. And it's not just, I read this from a book or an article and here you go. Thanks, Aaron, for sharing. By the way, Aaron, did it work out? Were they able to create a definition using your sketch note? Before we go on to talking about the content of this week, I just want to talk to you about the upcoming ELL Chat Book Club. Basically, it's a book club, book study on Twitter. And these are some of the books that we've read here. There are a lot of readers internationally, and this is the one we're gonna read coming up. We're gonna be reading with a little help from my friends. I would like to give this book to one person in our course. I'm using Wheel of Names to help randomize and select the person who's going to get the gift card for Amazon to read the book. And it's going to be Naomi. Yay! Good. Don't tell Naomi yet. Let her have a little surprise when she watches this video. Naomi, come and text me, email me, or Voxer me, and I will send you the discount. I'll give you the code. I'll send you the gift card. You can either purchase the Kindle or you can purchase online. If you're in the US, you can decide. This week we have one reflection from Viraj. Let's listen to it now.
Hi, everyone. So I've completed week 1 and I really enjoyed the video. I actually watched it twice. I've been working with English language learners for over 10 years and I learned a lot. But I think my favorite strategy was the picture word induction model. I'm currently not in the classroom because I'm on a winter break at a year-round school, so I didn't get a chance to implement it, but I really appreciated the lesson as it was designed to teach me some Laotian, and I really thought that it was a great way to explain the example. I think another reason why I appreciated the way that this was set up is because there were 2 different examples of the strategy that were provided in the video. And it was another way to highlight the cafe versus Starbucks. So the strategy can look different, but there were some principles about it that were core and would be, I think, fabulous for the work that I do with newcomers. So I really liked that. And I think the other thing I have to reflect, I would be remiss in not mentioning that I was so surprised about the quality of this lesson. And it was fantastic. I don't want to feel like I'm being arrogant, but after teaching for 29 years to see this quality, and I've been to a lot of bad professional development, this one really stands out as exceptional. Honors how adults learn. It brought in real examples from the classroom, showed a variety of strategies, and all I got was week 1 for my money. I would be pleased. So I'm looking forward to learning in the next week and the weeks to come to see what else is going to happen. I'm going to try to make it to the co-planning session to hear from how others are implementing this in their classroom in different parts of the country and the world. So thanks.
We had a fun group co-planning session last week. Thank you to Ryan, Viraj, Rachel, Jody, Cindy, and Mary for attending. The full video was shared on Voxer for those who missed it. I only record the first co-planning session to show you what it's like, but I won't record the rest because the magic is in showing up live to these sessions to share your ideas and your questions. Hope to see you in the future sessions. Of all the types of scaffolding, the one I use most frequently is interactive scaffolding. This is why this week's video is one of the longest in the series, because I love it so much and have so much to share with you. I believe in the constructivist approach to learning, where students learn through creating. I also believe in Vygotsky's theory that learning is a social experience. Interactive scaffolding is the marriage of both of these ideas. Students working together to actively construct meaning. Let's watch this animated video to further understand interactive scaffolding. In many classes, the teacher asks a question which she already knows the answer to, but asks you just to check for understanding. A few hands are raised, and one student is picked to respond. The answer is evaluated by the teacher, and she corrects it if it's wrong or praises the student if it's right. But what are the other students doing? Likely celebrating that they haven't been picked on and choosing to tune out. Why wouldn't they? They're not asked to evaluate the responses of their classmates. They know that the teacher does that. But when we use interactive scaffolding to teach content, we give students an authentic audience who will respond to what they're saying. The power of listening, evaluating, and responding is given back to students where it should have been all along. Interactive scaffolding fulfills 3 main purposes. 1, teaching content. 2, encouraging language usage. And 3, fostering critical thinking. I mainly use interactive scaffolding to make content more comprehensible. Content is often not easy to understand because there's so much of it coming at us. I think in metaphor, so a metaphor for me for this is a pizza. Most pizzas come in 8 pre-cut slices, so they're easier to eat. Can you imagine a person scarfing down an entire pan of pizza without cutting it first into smaller slices? Using interactive scaffolding is just like cutting the pizza into manageable slices. Instead of talking at students for an entire period of time to try to cover all the content, we pause frequently to have students talk and process what we've just presented. Don't fall into the trap of asking students to direct their answers at you. Simply have them talk to a partner in small groups to synthesize. Sherry from British Columbia shared this question initially with me on Flipgrid, and I said, "Oh, what a great question. Please share it on Voxer."
This is not a weekly reflection, but my brain seems stuck and I find myself chewing on the difference between interactive scaffolds and scaffolding interactions. Or is there a difference? Or is it just semantics? Or I don't know, I'm chewing on it. So that will be my thought processing for the week, and I'll give a reflection later in the week. So feel free to chime in if you think there is a difference on the scaffolding interactions and an interactive scaffold. I'm kind of stuck in this moment. We shall see.
To which Beth Skelton responded this way on Voxer.
Hey, Sherry, what a great question. And now I'm just thinking about it. Here's some initial thoughts. First, that the interaction itself can scaffold the learning because it gives students the opportunity to process content with another student, either in their native language or in English, that they have talk time. So some kind of interaction in itself scaffolds the learning, supports the learning for all students. On the other hand, we may have to actually scaffold the interaction as well. And so that means we might have to provide a sentence frame, we might have to provide word banks, we might have to provide pictures, we might have to provide some kind of guidance of how you're going to answer the question or who goes first and what is the order of interaction. So that I would call is scaffolding the interaction. So that's my initial thought, but really interesting question, and I'd love to hear what others think. Ciao.
And in response, Sherry created this wonderful infographic to show you the difference between interactive scaffolding and scaffolding interactions. Thank you, Sherry, for creating this. Samantha Bennett said, "The person doing the speaking is doing the thinking. The person doing the thinking is doing the learning." I like to share 3 of my most frequently used non-prep interactive scaffolding strategies to get students talking. To help students talk more about content, I use the beloved turn and talk strategy. In this strategy, the teachers talk about a topic for a period of time, pauses, and tells students to summarize what they've learned with a partner. After a minute of talking, the teacher gets the students' attention back and proceeds to talk about the topic again. And the process repeats. Please remember that turn and talk is used best for quick talks, not debate and prolonged deep discussions. You can also use turn and talk when asking a question. Instead of asking one student to answer, instruct the class to turn and talk about the question. This significantly increases the engagement because at any one point in time, there's half of the class talking and thinking about the content. Turn and talk produces a much greater percentage of engagement than the model of calling one student to answer at a time. Let's make turn and talk more academic. Let me share a Jedi Knight trick that I learned from the legendary Katie Topol called PQA, which means put the question in the answer. It helps turn and talk become more academic. If I ask you, what is your favorite coffee shop? You can either produce a one-word answer such as Starbucks, or you can say, my favorite coffee shop is. These are the words that are found in the question I just asked. Teach your students the PQA strategy so that they can make their responses more academic. Also use turn and talk for lengthy or complex instructions. I have students turn and talk to put the instructions that I've already presented on the board, and I ask them to turn and talk to explain the instructions again. It helps prevent students from uttering the sentence that drives me nuts. Wait, what are we doing? We can use turn and talk with any resource in class, not just while the teacher is presenting. For example, in the following video, I have Jamin and Zhang Hong watch an educational video on YouTube. At the end of the 2 minutes, they stopped and summarized what they've watched.
Here is on the car, right? Disney is like that. Car sensor is on the car, and that is like later, and yeah. Detection.
Chinese.
No.
Oh,
Detection.
detection.
Yeah, detection. The other car will like
No,
other
the surrounding.
yeah, like around, and if car and stop.
Okay.
Yeah, this is car and this is the self-driving car, and this is car and going there and stop. Sensor
Because
reader
what?
because the car is
The caster.
yeah, car, because if you go to straight and crash, and the sensor the detection the car and he stop.
Oh, you mean it's just like the car sensor
Yeah.
system can detection the surround
other car.
the other car in the surrounding.
Yeah, the
Is
other
it
car
correct?
or
So yeah, you described self-driving cars. Now, how does it connect to waves?
Waves.
waves. Oh my god.
Oh, just like they use the waves to find
Yeah.
other car
Yeah,
or other something
I know something like
in front of them.
The second strategy I like to recommend is having students talk in their home languages. If you have students who speak the same language, why not invite them to use it to process content knowledge? For example, let's take photosynthesis. When students talk about it in English or in Arabic, the process doesn't change. In the following video, Chengmin and Zhang Hong are talking in Chinese to help them understand a video in English.
除以时间就等于频率多快，周期除以时间等于频率，周期除以对周期
除以时间等于那个水波的频率。
波的频率，就类似于什么？时间除以振动的次数除以时间，不就等于频率了？周期就是振动的总次数，可以这么说，你可以这么理解。
这样算一周了，就这样，这一圈，
不是这一圈，从这块起是吧？到这儿中，
就是它1分钟是，
看见没有？这个
这个频率
画黑线的部分，这就是一个波长。
那除以时间，它时间是多长？
时间那它按实际情况来定了。
时间是指它总长呢，还是？
Okay, can you explain what you just said?
Okay. He's asked me about the C-cells, and he don't understand why the number of C-cells divided by time is equal to the V were free Qs. Like why the C-cells divided by time is equal to the how often? And I try to explain for him.
Do you notice how when they're looking at the resource, pointing at the screen, looking at each other, seeking clarification, nodding, these are all indicators that they are talking about the topic, particularly when they're using the words, vocabulary words, from the English video as they speak in Chinese. I understand that this suggestion may fly in the face of English immersion programs that many of you are used to, But ask yourself this: if one of our goals is to help ELs access content, why does it have to be initially in English? Remember what Cummings said: to reject a child's home language in school is to reject the child. The third strategy is table talks. I'd like you to watch the following clip and think about what you've noticed about how these students are using talk.
80% just like you talk, 80% is about your idea. It's not about your country. It's about your idea.
Like about my idea?
Just like you show your idea, not just
do an example.
Just like I will show you idea. Just like I use something to make something. I use water bottle to make a ship or something. It's just that it's about my idea. When you use social media to talk.
It's not talking about your experience?
No, in social media they talk own ideas to 80%.
Just like if I have a cat, and maybe I will talk about how do I take shuffle just like to my cat.
Take shuffle. What is shuffle?
Wait.
Shampoo, shower? You mean bathe? You mean bathe the cat? In this video, you may have noticed how Annie, Jamin, and Zhang Hong are using English to construct meaning of a content-related topic. Did you notice how Annie advocated for herself by asking for an example to further understand, and how Jamie offers the board to Zhang Hong so that he can draw an image of what he's saying? Notice the critical thinking involved when Zhang Hong uses an example to explain his idea. They were engaged in a table talk, which is a discussion with all the people at the table. It is more collaborative, more student-driven, and lasts for a longer period of time than turn and talk. Table talks is my go-to strategy when I want students to read a text or view a video because it develops so many skills at once, and students are so engaged in the process. Try it out in your own class and let us know what you think. If you remember nothing else in the video, please remember this quote by James Brighton: reading and writing float on a sea of talk. It's through taking turns, seeking understanding, and seeing from other perspectives that make relationships grow between students. I know many of you are already using these 3 strategies. If so, I encourage you to continue using them, because not only do these 3 strategies help students comprehend content and develop language skills, they also prepare ELs for the types of interactions students will have in college, in their careers, and in their communities. They will need to have short exchanges, and at times will need to collaborate to engage in a prolonged discussion about a topic. Just like a choose your own adventure book, you can now choose 2 options for the rest of the video. You can choose to continue watching the video at this point to learn more about different strategies for talking, or you can skip right to the optional assignment section. I just shared the 3 most frequently used interactive strategies: turn and talk in English, talking in students' home languages, and table talks. There are other strategies that I use less frequently, but they are still highly effective. I'll save my most favorite activity for the end of this video. I like to share a strategy called Stand Up, Hand Up, Pair Up by Kegan. At most schools, students sit in the same spot for the whole period. That can mean 45 to 90 minutes at a time in some classes. Sitting for that long can cause their energy to drop and for their minds to wander. To reactivate their minds and their bodies, I use a Kegan cooperative learning strategy called Stand Up, Hand Up, Pair Up. In this strategy, students stand up and gather in the center of the room. They raise their hand to show that they need a partner, then high-five each other, and together they go to the perimeter of the room. This part of the strategy is the crowd control part. Once they are at the perimeter, they answer the prompt from the teacher, who stands in the middle of the empty space. It's best to give them a prompt that requires explanation. After providing one response, they high-five their partner and say thank you, return to the center of the circle, raise their hand to find another partner, and repeat the process with another partner. This strategy works best if the prompt has multiple answers, so students can go and find one partner, go to the perimeter, talk about one answer, come back to the middle, find a new partner, go to the perimeter to talk about a second idea. Stand up, hand up, pair up gets students talking about the content in an engaging and active way. According to the website juststand.org, it takes just 10 minutes of movement to increase mental focus. As their bodies are moving, they're able to deliver more oxygen to their brains through improved blood flow, which wakes up their minds too. It's not just alertness we're improving with this method. Our bodies actually do a better job at creating new brain cells when they're physically moving, which means our students are learning better. There are so many ways we can have students do skits to synthesize new content, think from multiple perspectives, and deepen their critical thinking of a topic. After they've done some research or have been introduced to a new topic, have students work to create a skit to communicate something about the topic. For example, during an 8th grade social studies unit on fair trade, we had students create skits to demonstrate their understanding of the different parties involved in bringing a product to consumers. In their scenarios, students had to choose between either a banana farmer or a wholesaler or a retailer or a fair trade rep. They studied one stakeholder, and then they created a short skit to show how each of these stakeholders would negotiate over the price of a banana. Acting out the scene helped the concept of fair trade become more tangible. Sometimes the topic lends itself to students' personal experiences. If so, this is a great time to have students interview each other to connect to the topic. During a 7th grade social studies unit on power structures, the social study teacher and I introduced the topic by having students interview each other about the power structures in their own families. Each student shared while the other students listened, took notes, and asked questions. Once students developed interview skills, we released them to our school community where they had to work as a group to interview the principals, the head of school, the cafeteria staff, the ground staff, the student council, and department chairs to learn more about the concept of power structures. Students developed critical thinking skills as they debated over which questions to ask, listened attentively to the answers, and asked thoughtful follow-up questions. We often default to having students talk to the people next to them or at their tables. Sometimes I want students to get their blood flowing and to interact with different people. So I use the human barometer strategy. Pose a question for students to think about, like, what is the impact that social media can have on teens? And then explain that one end of the room is a descriptor such as the negative implications, and on the other end are the positive implications. Then students stand up, move to the parts that they think represent their ideas the best, find a person they talk to in that corner, and talk to reflect. When students engage in this activity, they receive the same benefits of thinking critically, developing communication skills, and working on interpersonal skills as they would have if they had asked the questions in a turn and talk. An alternative to continuum is the 4-corner strategy. Each corner represents an idea. The teacher asks students to go to the corner that they agreed with the most. For example, if we're learning about the Renaissance, I can ask students, what is the most important belief of the Renaissance? Each corner will have a different belief. Students then move to the self-chosen corner and they share with the people who are in the same corner. This is a great way to have students start before having a whole class discussion. Another effective tool for helping students actively acquire content knowledge while developing their language and critical thinking skills is the jigsaw strategy. In this method, the teacher assigns a topic for each student. For example, a science teacher might assign each student a different ecosystem. The science teacher then provides resources for students to learn about the respective ecosystem. They can even research together with people who have similar assignments. Are you worried about them getting the correct information? You can visit with each expert group to listen to and support their research to make sure that they are getting the right information. After each group finishes researching and synthesizing information, the teacher makes new groups. This time, each group contains one member from each of the ecosystem. Each member now teaches the other members of the heterogeneous group about their respective ecosystem. The Jigsaw is a powerful tool to get students to learn content actively, receive support from their peers while learning the content, and deeply synthesize the content as they teach others. John Hattie found that it is the one strategy that scores high in all sections of his newer 4-quadrant model of learning: acquiring surface level learning, consolidating surface level learning, acquiring deep learning, and consolidating deep learning. My favorite way to structure a whole class student-centered discussion is through the Harkness table. This is a student-led discussion strategy similar to Socratic seminars. It was started at Phillips Exeter, a highly selective American boarding school, and it's now used widely among the most effective private, international, independent schools and universities. Many public schools are also adopting the Harkness method to 1. Develop students' thinking and speaking skills, 2. To improve students' collaboration skills, and 3. Foster critical thinking. To facilitate a Harkness discussion, first have students read a particular chapter in a book, review a specific article, watch a common video, or engage in the same experience. Then, students should write one of two things: questions or opinions related to the topic. Afterwards, arrange students facing one another in a circle, not towards the teacher. The circle allows for everyone to talk to each other and not to the back of other people's heads. It creates a sense of community and collaboration. Now, invite students to tackle one question as a group at a time. Let them share ideas, form connections, refer back to the text, and respectfully challenge ideas. What's our role? We've already done a lot of the work by selecting the text, the video, or the shared experience. We usually sit outside the circle and track the conversation like this. The ideal size of a Harkness discussion is about 15 students, but I have found that it works even better to have students in groups of 5 to 6. But I would do this only when students are already familiar with the process. Here's a video of my 10th graders who are ELs talking about a chapter in the Hunger Games. Notice the language that they're using, the collaboration and thinking skills they're developing, and how closely they're reading the text.
So there are like 13 districts, right? Or are there like 12 districts and 1 capital? Or
Yeah.
And
Total 13. One capital and 12 others.
13 districts
Include capital.
Okay.
That was your question?
Wait, so like
The
Hunger Games is created
because of
to
capital.
punish 12 districts that try to like
Rebel.
destroy
Yeah.
attack capital, like right?
Yeah.
But capital is not involved, right?
Capital's not involved.
The capital involved
I mean,
Like, there's
capital
no
doesn't get
peak
jumped
exams
on.
because they create.
capital
How do you know that?
yeah, to punish 12
Oh, yeah.
districts that try to
I think
like,
we said somewhere that there's like 12, 2 kids are like sick from 12 district. So yeah, so they're not included in the capital,
yeah,
right?
to punish
I've talked a lot at you today, and I haven't given you an opportunity to really apply the content. Let's once again turn to the same Padlet as before. Please think about a metaphor for interactive scaffolding. For me, interactive scaffolding is like cutting a pizza into smaller pieces. The pizza becomes more manageable to eat. In the same way, having students stop and talk about content makes it more comprehensible. On the Padlet, please add an image that represents a metaphor for interactive scaffolding. Write a brief description and interact with your classmates by upvoting some of their responses or by adding a kind comment. Haven't found a strategy that you like to try? I recommend going on to this article by Jennifer Gonzalez, the founder of a highly popular education blog called The Cult of Pedagogy. She provides a big list of discussion strategies. I also recommend reading about chat stations, also by Jennifer Gonzalez. I'll share these two articles on our Google Classroom page. Applying a strategy is the best way to internalize it. I invite you to complete an optional assignment where you take one of the strategies that I've shared with you this week and try it with your students. You could also feel free to use some of the strategies that your fellow classmates have shared in your own classrooms. Whatever interactive strategy you choose, please share a photo, a voice recording, a video recording of your students engaging with the strategy, or even a document that shows how you plan for students to interact with each other. Please share how you've implemented interactive scaffolding on a Google slide called Week 2 Assignment. There are places for you to place a photo and reflect on their experience. If you have a recording, you can either upload the recording to Google Classroom and share the link with us, or you can also place it on YouTube and categorize it as unlisted, so only people with the link can view the video. Once you're done, please make sure to enable the comment function on Google Slide. This will allow me and your classmates to view and comment on your work. Please share only photos and videos from students whose families have given you permission. Please remember to leave positive, supportive comments. You can also use the phrase, "you may consider." I end this video with my personal quote about the importance of interactions. Students speaking all day, mostly to each other. I hope you're inspired to intentionally give students chances to talk about content. That's all for this week. Have a great week, and I look forward to seeing you in our coaching session again.